Hey there, everyone. I hope you are all doing good. Stesma here. Today I'm here to talk to you about this little system that I have built in the idea of extending the power of my ARP 2600M. I did not want it to expand it with anything just for the sake of it, so I've been trying to find some stuff that are very missing from the original synthesizer. So which are these modules? The Voltio by Befaco, 2 mux slicers by Befaco, with the little mix expander that's attached to this one, a cadence by Nekyia Circuits, and the 1047 by Instruo, an octave and note switcher, 2 sequencer and a gate sequencer attached to them, a few envelopes that you can trigger individually because the 2 envelopes of the 2600 are actually linked. You just have one trigger in for the both of them. Also, these envelopes can be controlled, which is great. And we have a second filter, which is always good to have, especially as this one is multi-mode, while the main ARP 2600 filter is just a low-pass filter. One thing about the mux slicers and the 1047 has been the main decision for all this, is that they have some of the ARP 2500 series modules DNA. It's clear, for example, that the 1047 is based on the 1047 modules from the ARP 2500 series, which is known to be a very nice resonating filter that you can ping. It can also be a very nasty and crunchy filter using the limiter part of it. I have no idea if it's very close of an actual 1047 original module, but I find it to play very well with the 2600 anyway, and it's a great filter, whatever its lineage is. But I find it interesting to keep some sort of instrument spirit when you expand upon a semi-modular instrument. Same goes for those 2. They kind of remind me in a way of the, I think it's the 1045 or 1050, which is the mix sequencer. The mix sequencer is a beast of its own. It's not really like the mux slicer, but the mux slicer does one thing that can be done with the mix sequencer, which is you can use it as a straightforward 8-step sequencer. Like it goes like this, and this is the voltages that goes out. But you can actually plug any signals you want here at the bottom, and there will be outputted on the step corresponding to that input, attenuated by the fader. So you can either put audio there and have a very weird sequence, or you can put different controls that are going to be outputted in the middle of the sequence, like noise, LFOs, other sequencers, whatever. So yeah, so that fact that it's kind of a switch and kind of a sequencer at the same time makes it very flexible and very fun to play with the more fixed architecture of the 2600. Also, you could sort of use these 2 as 2 independent sequencer like the old ARP one that was kind of going with the 2600. I will talk about all this again during the video while doing the patching. So we'll stop rambling and let's get to some patching. This is going to be a long video, I tell you now. It also needs to be said that this video is sponsored by Befaco, Instruo and Nekyia Circuits because they sent me those modules so I can try them out. I'm not paid, and there is no contract about this, but I didn't pay for any of these modules in order to make that video. So that makes it some sort of a sponsored video. If you want to support the channel, you can go to Patreon. This is, I get paid. I don't get paid by the people who send me the modules. I like to do droney patches with this guy. One of my favorite type of patch is to build a chord like I just did, and then to sequence different parameters on this. This is where the mux slicers are going to come in handy. I'm going to start the first one and send the com.io, which is basically the fader output, to control the filter. Maybe I want something to also control the pulse width of oscillator 2. So let's go clock out to clock in. Start the second one. I'm going to tell this one to be only 6th step by plugging the 6th gate output back to the reset input. Could now decide to use this input of the filter instead, so we can have the ADSR going. Get that super snappy thing that's very 2600-ish. So I have the VCA open a little bit, and I'm adding the effect of the ADSR on it as well. The ADSR is controlling both the filter and the VCA. Also, one thing that I always find a bit limiting on the ARP2600 is that even though it has two envelope circuits, an ADSR and an attack old release one, ADSR being attack decay sustain release, of course, they are not independent, they are triggered both by the same gate. This is where the cadence by Nekyia Circuits comes in handy, as it is basically 3 more decay envelopes. The MEX is also very handy, as it's basically a gate sequencer tied to this mux slicer. Here I can trigger one of the decay envelope when I want using the MEX. Also, one thing that's lovely on the cadence is that you can control that decay time, while none of these envelopes are modulatable. I'm sending the sample and hold of the 2600 to control the decay of this envelope. So we have sometimes short ones, sometimes longer ones. So let's try the switching part, which is a little bit like the mix sequencer of the 2500. So I'm plugging the COM.io straight to the VCA, so we can hear the clicks of this step resonating through the spring reverb. What I want is to send audio signals into these inputs. Square waves. And when you are not using this as sequencer, the faders become the attenuation of the signals that's inputting, that you put at this input. To send the filter twice in there. We have to clock the next one again. Make it 7-step this time. Tell it to control the filter. So the two steps where we have the filter in are never going to be the same. Also increase the number of gate per step with the mux slicer. So now I'm going to take the gate out and trigger the envelopes so we can cut this signal into little chunks. This is good. Once again, let's clock the sample and hold, and we're going to use the random output to control that. Problem is that this signal is bipolar, and we probably need something just unipolar here. not as drastic as I intended, but it's fun though. To make sure we have some volumes at some of the points, we could decide to either grab some individual gates or using the mechs. Oh, let's use the filter now. I'm going to send the mechs out to the trigger input of the 1047, which is also a filter inspired by the 2500. That's great for pinging to be used as a resonator. Let's take the bandpass output straight to the audio mixer. So this is listening only to the pings. Oh, this is good. That's a cool patch. I'm going to let it live like this for a bit. Just faster. Now let's try to see what we can do using both the keyboard and the sequencers. So I have made an arpeggio on the key step. It sounds like this. Also, what I want to show here is using two filters. This is the sound of the 2600 filter. You can switch it to the old model. One thing I really like to do is to blend a second filter, the 1047 by Instruo right now. This one can have its own frequency, and by crossing paths together, they create some phase weirdness. I'm using the limiter part of this circuit to make it drive a little bit, so this one is very clean and this one is a bit nasty. I'm also using that amazing output that is able to blend between the different filter types. Now let's animate all this. I'm using the gate out of the keyboard to advance that sequencer. So this one will play the first filter. see the clock out is a little bit weird here. Don't know exactly why, but I decide that I want to use this to advance the second mug slicer. Oh, that's good. Just a little touch of white noise on one step, maybe on the other sequencer. Take the output of the VCA to send it to the envelope follower. And use it to sweep what kind of filter we're in. This filter. Some kind of weird control feedback. Only the Instruo filter being properly crunched. And here only the ARP filter. And two together again. Many thanks to Befaco and Instruo and Nekyia Circuits for sending those modules so I could try them out and show them to you in that funny context that is expanding the 2600 with a selection of modules that is in a way related to the 2500 series. And just to add a few functionality that it doesn't have. Feel free to go have a look at my Patreon if you want some sample packs or teachings. You can also buy some stuff from the affiliate links below. It's a great way to support the channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.